mysteries and riddles? Then I have a case for you. Lord Eaglebury was a rich but miserly man who wore glasses that perched on the end of his nose. He lived in a lavish manor house with his family, who he kept on a tight financial leash and treated like dirt. So it wasn't a huge surprise when he was found dead on the floor of his study, stabbed through the heart with his own paper knife. I arrived on the scene a couple of hours later. Walking into the drawing room, the air was frosty despite the roaring fire. 3 people stared back at me. Lady Eaglebury sat in an armchair, sneering. She had grey hair that was tied up in a bun. Her walking stick leant against the chair, and on the table next to her sat her Vulgate Bible and a rosary. Pacing about the room with a limp was her son, Edward. He'd been shot in the leg during the war and had since developed an interest in medicine and chemistry. Sat in a window seat was his wife, Emma Eaglebury. Unlike the rest of the eagle-like family, she was more of a timid wren. She was often found in the conservatory due to her interest in horticulture. I questioned them for some time and found that none of them had alibis, but that they believed that the inheritance would be split between the widow and son, and that Lord Eaglebury had been planning to build a patio on the garden outside of his study window. I went for a walk around the house and to interview the suspects and the servants. Success! Mary the maid had a clue. She'd been passing the study door just before the murder and had overheard Lord Eaglebury arguing with someone. She couldn't make out who it was, but she did hear his lordship say an odd phrase. A quill lead you. I walked slowly back to the drawing room, mulling over this clue. What could a quill lead you mean? My mind went to the 3 prime suspects, Lady Eaglebury, Edward and Emma. And I suddenly noticed that they all had something in common. All of their interests were connected to Latin. The Latin Bible, medicine and chemistry, and horticulture. Latin, aquilegiu. Could Mary have heard the word aquilegia, the Latin name of the flower columbine? I raced back to the drawing room, burst in, pointed my arm and said, "You murdered Lord Eaglebury." The killer broke down in tears. Edward slowly turned his head and said, "Why? Why did you kill my father, Emma?" It was because it was to save the garden flowers, wasn't it? Emma nodded at me. Yes, for the flowers. I had to conceal a smile. I'd cracked another case, and I had a new story to tell.